All right, SEC on CBS game of the week. A classic rivalry in college football. So many great memories watching this game growing up. We've got Florida going to Tennessee. It's really weird given how Florida has totally dominated this series over the last, I think there's, what have they won? 16 of the last 17 games against Tennessee. Well, going on the road to Knoxville, they're 10.5-point underdogs, and you can certainly understand that given the makeup of each of these teams. Total is, pretty high as well, 62.5. I've gushed about this Tennessee offense for a long time. They run at a maniacally fast tempo. I sprinkled on Hendon Hooker to win the Heisman Trophy at 60-1, I believe. I just think his counting numbers are going to be so good. This team runs so many plays. He's got so much help around him. I mean, they got a really good run game. Their only real weakness is their offensive line, but they've been able to work around it even last year. And I do think it will improve this year. So right out of the gates, first reaction is I see the team total for Tennessee at 36.5. I think they could put up 40 in this matchup. I mean, they averaged 39 points per game last year. And, the one thing I do worry about with Florida defensively, 0 sacks against Utah, 0 sacks last week against a clearly inferior team in South Florida. So, they might not be able to exploit Tennessee's main weakness and get some pressure on Hooker. If you give this offense time with how they can run the ball, obviously what Hooker can do through the air, and then with his legs and just how fast they run, they're going to have their way. So if Florida's got to improve that pass rush immediately, it's kind of the first thing that jumps out at me. I do like Florida's secondary and the way they've looked this year, but teams have been able to establish a run. I mean, even South Florida last week was able to run the ball pretty well against this Florida defense. So it just doesn't really bode well facing off. I know the history of this matchup or whatever, but Tennessee has never had a guy like Josh Heupel running their offense, until last year when he came in. But this offense is a pretty well-oiled machine at this point. I love Hooker. I love Small at running back. They've got weapons on the outside. Florida better show up ready to play, and they better get some pressure on Hooker, or this could get ugly. With that being said, I'm not going to lay the 10.5 here because as bad as Anthony Richardson has played these last 2 weeks, and he's played bad, go back and watch after week 1. I told you it was coming. Don't overreact the way you overreacted to Florida week 1. And that goes back to July. I just felt like he was getting crowned way too early as this difference-making player. The key to this game for Tennessee's defense is you have to take Anthony Richardson out of the quarterback run game. These last 2 weeks, Kentucky and South Florida have done a great job of that. They've really, kept Anthony Richardson in the pocket. And when you do that, I mean, his best threat is his legs. So if you keep if you keep a run first quarterback and make him a pass first quarterback, that's when you get the poor performances that he's gotten these past 2 weeks. That, if I'm Billy Napier and Rob Sale running this offense, I say, I don't care if they spy. I don't care what they do. We've got to get him involved in the run game. So with how bad it's been these 2 weeks, I would expect that to be the game plan coming in. I'm not so sold on this Tennessee defense as to where I'm willing to lay double digits with them in this spot because the quarterback run is just so hard to account for when handicapping games. It can totally flip a game on its head. It was a big reason why Florida pulled off the upset against Utah week 1, and nobody's doubting his ability as a runner. There's no doubt that if he gets the proper amount of touches on the ground, he will make a major impact on this game. I just haven't seen enough from this Tennessee defense. Wasn't great last year, and while they might have improved this year, I would have loved to see how they looked in the second half against Pittsburgh because Keaton Slovis was kind of having his way in the first half. Obviously, Slovis goes down, and then Pittsburgh just really doesn't have a good quarterback in there in the second half of that game. This Tennessee defense, even so, just still allows too many explosive runs on the ground. I think they allowed a 76-yard touchdown on the ground to Pittsburgh. Those are the kind of things that just can't happen. This is far from a stout defense at this point, and I could absolutely see a world where Anthony Richardson takes over this game with his legs. Don't think over is a bad play, but I do think I just have more questions than answers as to how Florida matches up with Tennessee's defense. I didn't love Florida coming into the year. I hope that Tennessee, wins this game comfortably because I did make a play preseason on Florida under the 7 wins and still like where I'm at on that. Would have loved South Florida to win last week, but I think the matchup I feel best about, Tennessee is going to have so many possessions offensively. That's just how they play. They're going to play a lot of high scoring, high possession type of games. I think 36.5. I know that's a big number, but you're talking about one of the best offenses in college football with a true Heisman contender at quarterback, a really good run game, and just a fast-paced team. If I had to play this game, I think I'd play Tennessee over the 36.5 points. I don't think it'll be a full one-unit play for me. Typically what I do, is I add, some half unit plays closer to Saturday. This is kind of on the short list to be a half unit play for me. Appreciate y'all watching the video. If you like what you heard today, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and don't miss any of the upcoming content. Comment your best look on this game down below. Side, total. If you're not a betting guy, just a prediction. Comment your best look on this game down below. You see this shirt right here. I know you've been staring at it the whole time. Go to proud90.com. Unique but very comfortable polos as well. Also got t-shirts, hoodies, quarter zips. Proud 90's got all your golf apparel needs. If you see anything you like at checkout, use code Fordham. It's going to get you 15% off your entire order. Support me. Support Proud 90. Proud90.com.